Hello everyone, let's get started with another topic, military psychology. What is the role of psychologist in military? It promotes the overall well-being of soldiers and employees employed in military. Thus, the role of psychologist is becoming tough day by day. क्यों ये tough क्यों हुआ? Because the military personnel were earlier involved in war or protection of our boundaries, but nowadays they are employed in various circles like sometimes tsunami hit our country, then floods like situations, then so they are employed in various situations. So the level of stress is very high, autonomy is very low, personal control over workspace is very low, working hours are very long, also security duties are very high. So what is the need? Um, the area where these people work, it is very common that there would be stress, there would be psychological problems, right? So there is a requirement of psychologists. The role of military psychologist is to recognize the psychological vital signs, what are psychology, depression, anxiety, etc., and to rehabilitate the soldiers. Mental health problems are many. Environment stressors are no doubt very intense, very unpredictable. Vulnerability of stressors are very high, so they do suffer psychological health problems. As stressors are very high, the job in which they are involved is assessed. So what is done? Assessment is done. Assessment generally depression, anxiety. These are the two factors of assessment. Assessment is done using various techniques like MMPI, draw a pencil, draw a test using pencil, etc. Intervention, post-traumatic rehabilitation. If certain events occur into the life of a soldier, that is very painful, like for it can be anything, so the person should be rehabilitated. Trauma event management, the person should be kept with therapies and medication. Body debriefing, so whatsoever problem occurs either in military personnel or a normal person, the it should be expressed with someone. So there should be the culture of body debriefing, talking to your companions. Psychological tests in military. Application of psychology in military is not only to rehabilitate the person, bringing psychological mental health to the concerned person, but also psychology is involved in what? Selection of the desired person. As you all know, military involves a lot of stress, so mental makeup of the person selected should be as such so that he or she could bear that stress. Also the equipment allowed for supplied for the military person, that are also very expensive, so the person should be like who could bear the stress also and use the equipment very well. Training and retraining, a pre-test is conducted before the training and then post-test. Why this is done? So that it could be assessed what was the result of training. So psychological tests are used here in pre-test, post-test. Also there are certain games, simulation games, virtual reality. Training stimulate real. Okay, training basically what does? They just stimulates the actual situation, war-like situation. What would be the reaction of the concerned military person? They just stimulate the events, the combat like situation, so that if situation occur, what would be the reaction of the concerned person. Counseling, obviously the level of stress involved in a military is very high, so the counselor, the psychologist pro- would provide, counseling, like to lower down the stress of the person, although it depends on person to person also, but obviously the environment stresses are very high. Human factor in engineering and defense. What actually the need of psychology in human engineering was felt during World War II. Engineers built various machines, various warfare vehicles, but obviously we all are human. Human can conduct errors. So that the person could not conduct errors, actually operating any arms or aeroplane is much tougher in war like situation than to operate in daily sequence. So the need of psychology was felt. So human engineer have to keep in mind reaction, motor abilities of person, visual perception, cognitive methods, etc. when military equipments were built up. Modern modern military equipments are very complex. So psychology plays the role here also. Minimum error should be there, otherwise that could lead to a destruction of the place where he or she would use the equipment. Also the person who would be using could get destroyed. So psychology here is used conducting research and getting data for HFE is tougher in case no country provides her or personal data how to build the equipment. So psychology here plays a role. Accordingly to psychology, we could judge what humans can do everything like 100 percentage in accuracy. What would be accuracy of using equipments? So here comes the makes the equipment, obviously equipment should be easier to operate, error should be reduced, amount of training required should be reduced, stress on the operator should be